Okay.
Mr. DP sir,
Thanks,
you can
guys.
start.
Yeah, I'm audible.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Mr. DP, just unmute yourself and you can start now, please.
Sure. Okay. Thanks, guys, and welcome. I welcome you all for the Signet Python network automation training. So let's begin with the network automation, right? So most of you are, I think, asked the question that what will be the course content, how I'll groom myself into the network automation. What should I learn now to bring up my skills into my current network job, right? So don't worry about it. We will go step by step, and I'll tell you how you can groom yourself and you can achieve most of the jobs in the market right now, which they are hiring for only for person who has experience in network as well as the Python automation, right? So let's quickly go through the content that what we are giving to you and why it is beneficial to learn this. And then we will learn that why automation is important, how we can develop our skills towards automation, why is there any prerequisite to learn Python, or do we need to know any languages, C, C++, Java to learn Python? That all the contents or all the questions will take care of. So quickly, I'll go towards the course content that we are providing to you. Actually, guys, we have 4 different modules for you, right? Now, why different modules? Why not single module? So basically, what we are that will be a beneficial to learn any new things in the market, right? So first module is completely based on Python, right? We will not take any of the like networking stuff over here. So what we will do is we will gonna learn Python from the scratch, because for automating network, so those who are from, let's say, networking background, they know their network very well, as well as those who are want to jump into network, they learn network further, right? For them as well, Python will be the basic key to learn. That's the main concern. We kept our module number 1 as completely Python. So here what we have to learn. Now, first topic is overview of Python. So here in Python, we will in module sub module 1, we will learn that why Python is important in the network, what is the global scope of the Python in the network engineer's journey, right? Then we have our labs, how we can set up our lab, how we can automate our lab, that we will gonna take care of. Then the sub module 2's content, that installation, how we can install the Python, how we can install PyCharm, what is PyCharm, why it is needed, why we are only using PyCharm, that will take in the next moment, right? Software we are going to use for automating, because we in the live environment, obviously we will have our own setup, but for automating, to learn automation, we have to create our own lab, right? So there we're going to use GNS3 as well as EVNG. Now, what are the different types of modules in Python that we're going to take care of? Now, third sub parameters, or we can say sub modules, that includes the keyword and the data types of the Python. Remember, guys, always understand by the example this. If
Yes, sir.
you want to bring
Actually,
something, you need a bar. Yep.
You are breaking somewhere actually. Can you just check your internet is stable?
Now is it fine?
Yeah, now it is fine. Yep. Go ahead.
Sorry for interruption. So I'm just telling, like, see, let's take an example. If you want to carry something, right? If you want to carry something from the market, obviously you need a container, or let's say you need a basket, right, to carry those things that you are going to purchase from the market. It is same as variables, right? It is same as the basket means variables in Python. So we will use Python with our live scenarios, and we will learn Python as compared to that. So what I believe is, if we compare this thing with our day-to-day life, it will definitely be beneficial for you to learn Python. Now, the fourth parameter is, what are the operators? What is meant by strings? How to play with strings? Then what is strings? That is also the question, right? Let's say, guys, if you are writing something on the live devices. Let's say you are writing show running configuration. Whatever the data that you will get from the device, it's a complete string. Now, what operations we can perform on that data? What operations we can perform on that data? It's mean by string slicing. How we can convert that string into different types. How what is string casting? That we will gonna learn. Now, next part is functions. Let's consider a networking perspective of the functions is like you need to log in to thousands of devices, network devices, with the same user ID and password. Now, guys, see, if you want to log into the 1,000 devices, need not to give user ID and password 1,000 times. What you can do is just bring one function, right? Just bring one function. And inside that function, inside this function, just bring your user ID and password, right? And 1,000 times we can call this function rather than sending user ID and password 1,000 times. That is the benefit of functions in the Python, right? That we will also we're gonna learn. Now, everything up till this part, everything up till this part, it will just cover your 30% Python, right? Now, from here, guys, the heart of the Python will start. Now, which include list, tuple, and dictionary. It is the most important structures of the Python. See, guys, I'm taking a time for explaining the course content because I don't feel that, okay, if learning Python only for the network engineers or whatever it is needed, or whatever our course content will gonna give in module number 2 and module number 3, which includes network, right? I don't want to be restrict to this particular modules only. So let's say either after completing the course, if you got if you will gonna get some projects which is related to Python, you should know, okay, you have learned list and I know that how to automate my code with the help of list, right? Now let's move ahead with the next course content. Now we have conditional operators, right? What if this is happen, what if that is happen, that we're gonna learn, right? Then exception handling, file handling, loops. I hope that most of us has heard about loops, right? So loops are like, let's say if I want to do one task, I want to take a backup from the device, right? Let's take the same example of login. If I need to take backup, log into the device, taking a backup, putting into the Excel file, sending an email, it's a regular task, right? So that we can automate with the help of loops. Now, file handling is like, let's say our client used to ask us, hey, hi, I want a data of, let's say, 5,000 devices, right? Which should include version of that device, which should include running configuration of that device, right? So in that data, or in that, let's take example of Excel sheet, you will gonna enter that data, bring that device, bring that version, bring that running configuration, save that file, and attach that file into the email, and then you will gonna send that file. No, it's a daily task. We are not going to do that. We will learn how to automate that stuff. That's we're gonna cover into file handling, right? Now, this is all the part until this will cover your Python. Now, the extra thing is like, nowadays we all knows that devices, or most of the devices is now started supporting APIs. Now we will jump to the API section, right? So I'll talk you more when we will gonna move ahead with module number 4 of APIs. So we will go through the API part. What is API? What is REST API? How we can call API? What are the types of API? That we're gonna cover in this section. So this is all about module number 1. Now let's quickly move towards module number 2. Now guys, module number 2 includes our 4 major libraries, right? Now why this why we have taken only 4 libraries? See guys, there are multiple, but we have chosen a best libraries for you, that which is easy to integrate with our native equipments, and we should get a fast result among it, right? So we have 4 libraries. First is our telnet lib, second is our paramiko, third is netmiko, and fourth is napam. These are 4 major libraries. Now question arises like, what is libraries, right? That we will gonna learn, that we will gonna see in the next section. into future slides now, right? So telnet library basically, which will automate those device where you have configured telnet, right? Let's say we completely understand that nowadays, if you ever work in a data center, there could be few devices who doesn't support SSH. For that devices, we have to use telnet only. So this particular library will gonna help you to automate those devices as well. So we are considering older devices as well as the newest devices, right? Now the question under second library. Now second library is Paramiko. So Paramiko basically works on SSH, right? And same for netmiko as well. Netmiko also work on SSH. Then why we have learning two different libraries? See guys, there are major differences in Paramiko and netmiko, right? That in the theoretical part we will gonna learn in the live classes why it is important, where should we use Paramiko, where should we use netmiko. But just for the session, I'm gonna tell you that Paramiko has their own restrictions and netmiko has their own restrictions. Now which library you have to choose to automate your network, that we will see in a live class. Now the foremost and the latest library in the market is napam. Now why napam is latest and why every organization want to use napam in the industry? Because napam support two things. Napam also support API. Those devices who supports API, we can use napam library into that devices as well. And for those who doesn't support APIs, for those who doesn't support API, so napam is beneficial for both of the devices, hence it is running in the market nowadays. And guys, you can see for each and every library we have 11 labs, and lab number 12 and lab number 13 is the advanced labs for you. See guys, advanced labs include overview of advanced thing, right? How you can develop, how you can structure your code into a single code, that will gonna cover in the lab number 13, known as advanced lab. Now that is all about modules, but what if, let's say, uh, we have taken an example in the last slide that let's say we need 1,000 devices. One by one you have to log in, sending username and password. It's again time taking task. For that we're gonna learn multi-threading. See guys, I like since last 6-7 years I'm working into this industry. I have only seen only 2-3 organizations, developers, network developers are using multi-threading in the market. They even don't know what is multi-threading is, right? So here I have taken this topic of multi-threading to just uplift you into current automation task, right? So what is multi-threading is like basically we are going to call 5,000 devices in a one go, in a one go. So whatever task is required by general by using general libraries, let's say for taking a backup of device, we have to use it was taking only 2 seconds for one device, but after using multi-threading, it will gonna take only 2 seconds for 5,000 devices, right? This is the magic of multi-threading. Now second part I have added is Excel handling. Excel handling is like if you need to handle something, some Excel part, let's say report handling, if you want to send a report attached to the email, send it to the email. In that case, we have to know the Excel parts that we're gonna cover in the Excel handling part. Let's quickly move towards module 3 is basically of ASA firewall. Those who are from the security background, we're gonna cover this ASA stuff for them. Now, module number 4, which includes most important module named as Palo Alto, a firewall, where we're gonna learn what is APIs. See guys, if someone told you that okay, we're gonna cover APIs, so I wanted to tell you there are 3 types of APIs, and why we are learning this, that is also I'll compare with the live Cisco certifications, right? So there are 3 types of APIs: XML, JSON, and Python. We're gonna learn all of them. What you want, after few days, if someone asks you what is XML APIs, you should not give them, you should not answer them that, oh, I just know Python APIs, I don't know about XML APIs or JSON APIs, right? So we are going to cover all the 3 APIs into our course content. So that's it about course content. This is just a course content that we will gonna cover into our class. But believe me, like since last 2 years we are taking these batches, and for each and every batches we have to, like, whatever task time that we have decided to take our batch, it's exceeding, because people used to come with new ideas, new logic. Okay, can we do this? Can we do that? Yes, we can. So what we used to do is we have our live classes scenarios. So in the live classes, people used to come up with their ideas, and we try to integrate their logics live, and that will be beneficial for all the students as well. So that is the benefit for you. Now let's move ahead with the demo session. But prior to that, let's talk about why network automation or why Python automation is like blowing in the market right nowadays. So I'll not give you false positive what responses. I'll quickly show you the websites. Let's I think most of us being a network engineer, guys, you know what CCNA is, and we have already covered, or most of us are already certified in the CCNA, right? Now nowadays Cisco has, I hope you are aware of, but still I'm telling you this because most Cisco recently added one part into its syllabus of CCNA. You can see this automation and programmability, because being a previous like whatever the certification that we did, even me too, there was no topic related to the automation and programmability. Now they have added this because automation is blowing in the market nowadays. See, you can see this Puppet, Chef, Ansible, right? As well as you can see REST APIs, what is CRUD, right? So we are gonna learn what are the different type of thing and how we can integrate those types into this particular syllabus. Now, if you ever heard about Cisco DevNet, right? So in the Cisco DevNet as well, see, this course content is not belongs to Cisco DevNet purely, but I will gonna tell you, let's in front of you, let's search the Python in the Cisco DevNet syllabus, right? And you will gonna see, guys, let's see. You're gonna see that most of the content, most of the syllabus contains Python in it, right? So it means that for jumping Cisco DevNet program as well, you need to learn Python scripts, right? You need to learn Python scripts, and that we are gonna taking care of here, right? And hence it is more important nowadays that every network engineer should learn Python, right? So if you ever see the CI/CD pipelines in infrastructure automation, this is all the DevOps concept comes ahead, right? If you ever heard about net DevOps, right? So I like we're gonna cover this part. This is actually extra part, guys, right? If you ever heard about net DevOps, we used to have a technical discussion. Okay, what is new in the market now? What should we learn? What will be our next step? That session we used to take up in our live session. So like it is not completely whatever we are giving into the syllabus, but apart from that there are multiple things, right? So and I think when we were about to starting the lecture, I have received few questions from you. Okay, that's fine, but we are not getting the exact jobs that where the job is, right? I'm not able to see the jobs in the market. Now let's quickly overlook of that jobs as well, guys. Now if you have a question that okay, I wanted to grow my career, I believe that you are familiar with this portal, right? So even though if you just see, I have just written networking plus automation plus Python. See, guys, there are hell of jobs over here. Cognizant is hiring for Python developers plus networking. If you see Python automation engineer IP networking, right? It is not, see guys, believe me, even though whatever industry, whichever industry I'm working, we are also hiring for the person who is network plus automation, who has a knowledge of networking as well as Python automation specifically. We are not getting the exact suitable candidate. So there are hell of opportunities in the market if you started learning Python now only, right? Now these are all the jobs that we have. It's nothing like we don't have jobs for specific what we can say specific topics, or we can say for specific job role. We just need a skill sets, right? If we are not looking for a certifications as well, because for network automation specifically we don't have any certificate. or we can say global certifications for it, right? We just have developed it, which is which is not related to the exact network automation stuff, right? So it's a what I can say, it's a hot cake, or it's a very good opportunity for you to groom yourself right now. Now let's move ahead with our session and demo class. So guys, this is just about me. I have almost 8+ years of experience in network domain. This is the certifications that I did. I'm PCP certified, which is a Python certification. I recently certified, recently cleared my Cisco DevNet exam, as well as CCNA. Automation Anywhere is a robotics process automation process, if you ever heard about it. Then AWS, I have certified AWS, as well as I have just certified Cyber Warrior, cyber security. And since last 2 years, I'm working as a network automation trainer. And that's it about me. Let's move ahead with the demo class. Now the question arises, the major question. Okay, we have seen the jobs, we have seen the content, but why should we use network automation, right? So guys, I have a thumb rule for using network automation in the network industry, because we know that we can use network automation for configuration in the sense configuring the devices. Second is monitoring, right? Monitoring the devices. Now where we can use configuration of the devices. Now see, being a network engineer, you guys know what we used to do is, we used to go to the office, we used to take charge of the, we used to take a handover from whatever, whoever in the shift, right? But whenever you can ask to those people who used to run the changes, right? RFCs in the are in our network industry. What they used to do, they used to copy the MOP, right? I hope you know about MOP, right? And they used to bring that configuration on the devices, right? So this task we have to reduce. This task, manual task, we have to reduce, guys. So we can configure any device of the network or any device in the data center, right? So only that device should support SSH or telnet. And we all knows, right? We all knows that we can log into our device via SSH only. That is fine, that we also take a credentials from TACAX or different servers, right? So that is a different scene. But we, for automating any network device, believe me, you just need these two things. You just need a connectivity of devices, and you can able to log into the device with the help of SSH or telnet. You can automate that device. Simple. As well as if you're not able to, still we have a solution named as APIs, right? So if you ever work on Meraki as well, if you ever work on Palo Alto, if you ever work on any device who supports API, in that case as well, we can configure that device. We will learn in our live session with the help of Palo Alto how we can configure multiple objects, policies on the Palo Alto with the help of APIs. Now monitoring. Second part is monitoring. Now guys, monitoring nowadays is like, I think we are paying huge cost to the softwares like SolarWinds, right? Used to get alerts from them. We used to, like, whatever, if the link is down, we used to get alerts from them, right? So we are paying, our organization is paying a huge cost to them. Why not we can tell them that we need not need to pay a penny to the SolarWinds. What we can do is we can simply automate that monitoring tool with the help of Python. We'll see in our class how we can monitor a particular interface, right? Third is testing. A major part, guys. See, testing, it doesn't means that proper DevOps testing I'm talking about. For DevOps testing, we have different stuff, or different not protocols, different applications, I can say, right? Now, for testing of the network, Python is also useful for you. Let's say you need to quickly check the vulnerability of the devices. If you ever heard about the vulnerability tester or network tester, right? What they guys used to do is, they guys used to test the particular network which is up to date or not, right? So we will gonna cover that testing with the help of Python, guys. So multiple things you can do, you can automate in an industry. The basic funda is you just need to learn Python, right? Let's move ahead. Okay. Now, I think this is a scenario that I was talking about in the previous slide, that you can monitor your particular interface. Now, what this says. So let's consider this is your switch, or let's say you can consider as router. Just imagine I'm saying. Now, this particular router has connected to the ISPs, right? Let's say this is Verizon and this is like ATT, right? Now, you guys observed that this Verizon interface counters or input errors are getting highest, right? At that time, you could get issues in your sites because we have a HA configured when and when this interface will down, right? But if you're getting errors, you could get issues. You could get P1 call, P2 calls, right? Because entire site will get down. Sorry, will could face any issues in the slowness issue, or could be anything, right? So at that time, what you guys will do is you guys will jump to the router, whatever site router for that. You're gonna check the input errors and all, right? Whatever the troubleshooting you are good at, you'll do at that time. But I'm telling to you is why you're logging to your device and checking this interface. Why not you're configuring this interface already with the help of Python? Simply, you just need to hit two conditions, if and then. That if you have seen the syllabus, there we are taking care of the conditional statement, the same conditional statement that we are using over here. If the error of the counter is too high, then shut down the interface automatically, right? It will shut down the interface as well, and it will send the email to you that, hey, this particular interface has this input error. So hence I have shut it down. You can look it afterwards. Meanwhile, I'll shift it to the ATT. Right? In this way, guys, you can manipulate your particular demonstration, right? So let's move ahead. Now, why we require automation? Network automation, we have seen there are few major types. The first point was configuration, if you remember. Why it is needed? For configuration. Let's consider, guys, you are doing a EOL, right? End of life. Now, during EOL, you need to configure each and every interface with the same VLANs, whatever that. What we guys used to do, what the basic network engineer used to do, he will copy the configuration from old switch, and he will paste, he or she will gonna paste that configuration into the new switch. That is the general funda that we used to do. But this is what, let's see this more than, let's take an example, 10 switches, right? L2 switches or L3, whatever, right? In that case, for 10 switches, the time required to copy the old configuration, paste it to the new, approximately I can take, like, let's take an example, let's take 5 years, right? This 5 years will also, like, this 5 years will also exclude whatever errors that we are getting while pushing this configuration. There could be some commands this particular switch or new switch is not going to support, right? In worst case, I'm taking care of. Now, this 5 years of time we have to reduce, guys, with the help of automation, right? Here, let's say, have a look of this example. What we are doing is we are going to each, and these are fixed switches, right? We are going to switch one interface VLAN, interface VLAN. It's a what manual task, right? We have to avoid this task with the help of Python automation. With the help of Python automation, that we're gonna learn into our live class, right? Now, second major advantage that why it is needed is to avoid human errors. Obviously, we all are human and we all are making mistakes, right? But if you build your code, there will be lesser chance to get errors in a live environment, right? Because with the help of Python, you know, you have tested your code into the local environment, and you know that there will be no errors in the live environment. There will be no errors in the live environment. But if it is, then your Python, you have to develop your code according to that, that your Python code will gonna handle that error. That thing you can also do, right? So indirectly, it is a reduce, indirectly we can reduce the human errors, whatever or whichever that will gonna cause into our live environment. Let's move ahead with the next slides. Now, a simple example, right? It's not, will not go deeper into the network now, because here we are, here to automate our network, not learn network. Now let's take this example, guys. Let's say you have received a call or email from this customer that internet is not working. What is the general flow of checking this customer port and all? What we used to do, we used to get a MAC address of this customer and we used to locate on which port it is, right? We used to log into this particular switch, and then from this switch we used to go to what, neighbor switch, right? After logging to the neighbor switch, again we have to come to this, okay, this particular peer switch, right? And then we have to identify, okay, this particular customer has connected to the this port, and then we have to resolve the issue, right? Then we are gonna check the port number 15, shut, unshut, whatever task. But how much time it has taken? To customer is calling you, then you are checking to each one of switches, then you are going to this particular port, right? The time will get wasted because you have multiple tasks to do. You should have P1 task, you should have P2 task, right? So it will be more difficult to handle these issues. So the solution for it is Python. What Python will do? Now Python will take care of each and every port of the switches. Now when this particular customer goes down, Python will notify you that this port number 15 of this switch number 6 went down, right? And there, then what you can do is simply go to this switch and check. Okay, this is the particular thing. We already have a ticket for it. Let's resolve it. So in this way, we can decrease the flow of ticketing, as well as we can improve or we can invest that time into more major priority tasks that we have, right? So that is the biggest advantage of the Python. Now let's take an example at what Cisco is saying about Python. Now Cisco is saying that this 95 up to 95% of network changes can be done manually. Obviously, we all are in the network field since last few years, and we know that most of the network engineers are doing changes manually. They are doing their work manually. There is no automation in there, right? Now, manual changes leads to the configuration errors and inconsistency in the network. That's major cause of human error that we have already covered in the previous slides, right? We can reduce human errors by hitting manual changes to the network. We can expand our network. Now, this is the major part, guys. See, there are not only Python developers, not only network Python developers are there. There are major developers. See, it's just a starting. Let me explain like this. So here in the market, you are just a Python developer. You will be just a network Python developer. But after that, you have to learn what is XMLs. You have to learn what is XMLs. You have to learn what is YAML. You have to learn what is YAML, right? I like most of network engineers didn't heard about these languages at all. For those, you need to know the Python, right? I'm just telling what you can do after this session, right? So you have to learn this YAML part. You have to learn what is YAML. You have to learn what is XML. You have to learn what is the let's say this NSO. NSO means our network service orchestrator. What are the type of NSOs? We can what is REST config? I hope that most of you didn't heard about REST configs, net configs, right? JSON RPC. Most of the part, guys, you have to develop after this session, right? So it's a start for you, and it's a time to learn Python. Otherwise, it will be like we will gonna lag behind in the market, right? So that's it about why network automation, why it is needed, and all. Let's move ahead with the Python perspective now. And see, guys, in Python, as I told in the first slide only, that we're gonna cover this particular Python with a live scenario or day-to-day life scenario. So it will be helpful for you to correlate. Now, guys, Python has been developed by GVR, which is who is Guido van Rossum in 1991, right? And in 2006, it has been popular in the for the world, right? And see, guys, in 2022 we are learning it. So I hope you guys can imagine like in 2022, it's famous. Python is more famous, or you can say hotcake in the market. Everyone want to learn Python, right? And why, we will gonna see. Let's move ahead with the next slide. Now, why we need to, like, why industries are looking for Python nowadays? Just because Google, Mozilla, YouTube, Quora, Dropbox, these top MNCs has already started or integration of the Python in their daily codes, right? So what, if you ever seen, okay, let's take an example like this. If you ever seen your Google page, right? Or let's say, let's take a live example rather than explaining over this. Let's take this example. Let's take a Naukri page. If you ever seen this inspect, right? This is the code that you're gonna see. But in this code, this is just a HTML, right? This is just a HTML code. But background of this, it could be Python. Background of this, it could be Python, guys. So in that way, these biggest companies, these biggest MNCs or Mang companies, you can say, has started using Python in the background, right? And in this way, they are creating their frameworks to implement that, because now the point is why they are using only Python, why they are not, why they have stopped using Java and all nowadays. Now let's see. Because we have few major advantage of Python rather than using other programming languages. Why we are not using C? It's the fastest language. Why we are not using Java, right? Now Python is easy to learn. It has an interactive shell. Now what is interactive shell? Shell is like, let's say, let's take an example. It's a dictionary, right? So in the dictionary, what we used to do, okay, if something we don't know, or some, the meaning of the word we don't know, what we used to do, we used to ask, or we used to just type that particular word into our Google. We used to get the answers. Same as Python. Python has their interactive shell. What we used to do, we used to simply write, okay, in the interpreter, we used to just write, okay, this command is there in Python or not. If it is not, it should give error. Same like that, we have interactive shell in Python. Now it's easy to begin with the simple scripts. Obviously, that I'm gonna prove why why I'm telling that it's easy to play with the simple scripts with Python. Sorry. We're gonna compare with Java as well, guys. So we have a difference of Java and Python. In that slide, I'll gonna cover this particular point. Now libraries. Now I hope you have we have gone through the course content. There I used to call this word libraries. Obviously, the library, we all knows what is in the library. There are collection of books. Here the collection of modules. Now I'll explain why libraries, and what will be our work in the network industry. Do we need to become a Python developer, or we are network Python developer? Then what are the different types of role that uh, we need to perform into our industry, right? So there are two things. First is Python developers. Second is network Python developer. That is us. That will be us, right? After learning this, you're gonna get a job. You're gonna take a job as a Python network developer. Now, what Python developer, core Python developer, they used to do, guys? They used to create the libraries. So libraries, or you can say modules. So ever in the class, let's say if I'm gonna call module, it's the same as libraries only. Now what will be there in these libraries? Libraries mean by, or modules, it's mean by a set of codes which will gonna give the functionality to automate our network devices. It's mean by library, right? So being a network automation developer, right, no need to worry about how we can create this library, right? No need to worry about how we can create this library. You just need to worry about how we can use these libraries. How we can use these libraries. Let me erase this stuff, and then I'll come to the difference. Yes, guys, I can see there are most of the questions, but believe me, I'll gonna clear each and everyone's question. Just allow me few minutes. We're gonna take all of your questions. Now, first thing is modules or libraries, right? So being a Python developer, guys, what they will do, they will create thousands of lines of code. And being a network Python developer, we just need to use those libraries. That is the key difference of Python developers as well as network Python developers, right? I hope you are clear. Now we have extensive collection of libraries, just like App Store. What App Store, or let's say Play Store, right? What you used to do, whatever app that you needed, you just download that particular app and you're gonna use that, right? Similar to this, similar to that particular App Store, here we have libraries. Whatever app or whatever library that you want to use, simply import it and then start using it, right? Now the major advantage of these libraries are like whatever the output that we used to get, we're gonna get it from the Excel format or PDF format, whatever you want. Now that point that I was telling to you, that this is Java code and this is Python code. Forget about this for a minute. Just have a look of this. See guys, both of the code are printing just a single word, right? Both of the code. But here we have to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines, right? But here in Python, just a one line code, right? Which is faster. And that's the main concern, that why we are using Python. Now let's come to our class topics, as well as which type of things that we are using into our class. So to be frank, I'll tell you there are two types of Python. First is Python, my bad. First is Python 2.7. My bad, not 2.7. There are two versions of Python, 2.0 and 3.0. There are sub versions as well, 2.1 up to like many. And here 3.2, like whatever, I think latest is 3.11 is going on, right? So here, being a latest code, what we are doing is we are using Python 3.0 in our class, right? Now this will be first requirement for us. Latest code or latest Python we're gonna use to automate our network. Now second requirement is IDE. What is IDE? Integrated Development Environment. Now what is this? So it's simple definition rather than booking definition. You can have a look of booking definition on the Google. Simple definition I want to tell you is it's a mediator between your Python and your network equipment, or you can say that you can run the particular Python code in any of the IDE very easily, right? There are few integrated languages with the different IDEs that we're gonna take, right? So there are different types of IDEs available. Few of them as you are already known with. First is what? Notepad++. You all know what is Notepad++ and why we are using it, right? Then second is what? Visual Studio, or you can say VS Code, right? Third is what? PyCharm, right? There are multiple. You can use ideally as well. It's a default interpreter that Python will gonna give you once you download the Python, that we're gonna see. But here in our class, we are using PyCharm. Why? Because see guys, PyCharm is a IDE which is very much compatible with Python, as well as your network devices as well. So we're gonna use PyCharm. Now third and major part is, okay, we have learned Python, we are gonna use 3.0. We have learned IDE. Okay, this is network stuff. Python stuff. What about network stuff? For networking, for automating, we need network devices, and that network devices we're gonna use either on GNS3 or either on EVNG, both. So I know few of the guys, either you can say Google Cloud as well. We'll see what are the different types or how we can automate Google. Like if you don't have your space, you can automate Google Cloud devices as well. Just like what I used to do is I used to create my lab on cloud. I used to automate that cloud devices for me, right? But if you have your own setup, it's better to use GNS3 as well as EVNG. I'm free for all. We're gonna take each like few laps on GNS3, few laps on EVE, few laps on cloud, and don't worry about setup. Everything including images, as well as including, let's say, VMware license as well, we're going to provide to you. Don't worry about everything. The setup related queries, I will say that don't worry about it. We're going to provide everything. Now question arises, are we gonna share the lab access to you? So straightforward answer is no, because I don't want that after a few days, if you have someone by mistake hit the code, wrong code, and we all have it could be possible that we can lose our connectivity. So that thing I don't want to interrupt. What we will do is I will share this content to each one of you. You have to create your own lab. I will be there for your support. We used to take a live classes, right? And that lab will be with you forever. So you can automate that lab, or let's say you can automate your code forever, right? That is the clear picture that I wanted to give you. Let's move ahead. Okay. Uh, let's quickly jump to a live demo, right? I'll show you live demo that how our courses, or sorry, how our lab will gonna work. We will take one script, right? And how we can get the data, or how we can fetch the data. So here in our script, what we will do is we are configuration perspective, we are working it now. So what we will do, we'll take a simple example. We'll just send show run, or you can say show running configuration on a device. We used to take this script, or the output of this, we can store that into the file, as well as we can display to the user, right? I hope you understood the flow, what we are going to do. Now this is the lab. This is a lab that we have, guys. Don't worry. Again, I'm saying for setup related issues, we have our live classes. I will gonna share the same lab with you. You just need to configure this particular lab. Now for configuration, few of those or few of our students has not been compatible of networking commands as well. So for them as well, we are gonna provide configurations to you. So you can implement those configuration on the devices and you can play with automation, right? Let's move ahead with our demo lab. Okay, see guys, this is our lab. I have just started switch number 1, switch number 3, and one of the router, right? I can start even everything, but let's as for the demo session, just take these 3 devices. Now, before jumping to the automation, what you need to do is you need to check the connectivity, right? And we all know how to check connectivity. It's simple, just ping them. 192.168.4.221, right? See, you can see the TTL value, guys. Like why it is greater, because I have created my lab on Google Cloud. So you can ignore that. That's fine. But in your live environment, you will not face these issues. Now, let's quickly ping 223 as well. So see, we are checking 223. We have checked 221 already. Just check 4.90 as well, which is a router. Okay, now all of the device has connectivity. Now let's jump towards automation now. Okay, this is what, yeah. So here, this is our demo session, and we're gonna start our lab from the scratch. Now, here among the 4 libraries, we are gonna taking only like here for the demo session, I'm gonna taking NetMiko, right? Why NetMiko? Why not Paramiko? That we're gonna take in the live class. So let's see from NetMiko. I'll tell you why I'm writing this or how this will gonna work. From NetMiko, import connect handler. Okay. Now what is this line means? Now I told you about libraries, right? So this libraries, let's say there is a library name as NetMiko. There is library name as NetMiko. Now there are a few external libraries, there are a few internal libraries, right? There are 2 types of libraries. How to import them and all, that is different funda. Let's learn that let's consider that this is a NetMiko library, and from here what we are doing is I have just written from NetMiko I want to import this connect handler. So it could be possible that one library is there, inside that library we have connect handler. We have connect handler. Now what type of this connect handler is it? Is it function? Is it class? That we're gonna see later on. So let's consider like this, that you have a book name as Netmiko. Inside that book there is a topic named as connect handler. So I don't want whatever, like there could be multiple topics in the book, right? I don't want this entire book because it will slow down my code. What I want is, I just want this topic. So here I'm just writing from Netmiko, I just want connect handler, right? Let's move ahead. See guys, our flow will be this only. We used to go line by line. We used to explain line by line code. Now here I'm creating one variable. Now what is variable? Now the first, I told you we're gonna compare this with our day-to-day life. So if you're gonna bring something from the market, you need a basket. The basket is equivalent to your variable. So what is the definition of variable? It's a container. It's a container of storing the data. It's meant by variable. So now which type of data that we're gonna store into that, it's known as data types, right? Again, I'm telling to you. See, variable means it's an container which will gonna hold the data. But what type of data will be there? It's known as data types. Right? There could be multiple data types that we have that we're gonna learn. So similar variable I'm writing over here. So what is the syntax of variable is, guys? You can write any name. There are few what I can say conditions to write the variable name as well that you need to follow. But the syntax means way of writing code. What is syntax means? A way of writing the code. It is meant by syntax. Now let's move ahead and let's see Cisco device. Here's a variable. Now let's start. Here it's a dictionary. Now what is dictionary means? Dictionary means in the dictionary we can store multiple data, guys. We can store multiple data. So here I am storing data like, let's say what is required to log into the device. We need IP address, obviously, of that device. So IP address I have is 192.168.4.221. This is my IP address of my switch. Now, the second IP address is what? Second need is what? I need username, because I am going to log in to this particular device with the help of SSH. With the help of SSH. Why SSH? Because we are using Netmiko. And Netmiko supports SSH. So we are here. This is our PY code, or we can say Python code, and we are connecting to the switch SW1. This is in the Google Cloud, right? Now let's move ahead. The username that I have given is Ziraj, right? And the password that I have already set up is Cisco, right? That's set. Now we could have a secret password, or you can say enable password, right? For enable password, I am also giving that enable password name as Cisco, right? The password is Cisco only. Now we have to mention the device type, which type of device that we are working on. So here, that particular device is Cisco iOS. Now, how to choose device type and all that we'll see later on. See guys, why I force you to use PyCharm, because here there is error, and the error, how to identify error? See, here I'm getting this red lines, right? This red lines, I'm getting error because I just missed comma in the line number 7, and that's the main concern. I'm getting this red lines. And in this way, we have to use PyCharm because we used to get errors instantly. If you hit comma, this red lines will go now. See, right? So that's it about our dictionary. So remember one thing, in our dictionary, what we have? In our dictionary, or you can say in our variable container, what we have Cisco device information. We have Cisco device information. In this Cisco device information, we have stored IP address, our username, our password, everything, right? The name of this variable is Cisco device. Name of this variable is Cisco device, right? Let's move ahead. Now, I'm again creating one variable name as connection. In this connection, now see, until this particular part, I am not using this connect handler. What I did is I just import it. I just told Python that I want to use it. And that's the main concern. I have just written it. But I'm not until this part I'm not using it. So here I'm using that connect handler. Once I write this now, guys, see, this particular line gets bold because I'm using that container now. Now here I'm writing star star Cisco device. Now what is this? This star star Cisco device, or you can say uh, star star. What is my star star? Right. So in the college days, you could learn pointer of pointer, right? So don't worry. In Python, you don't need to remember what is pointer, what is pointer of pointer. Nothing. That's a very simple language. Two star means just unpacking. What is unpacking? Means segregating. What is segregating? That we'll see. Now, unpacking of this dictionary, unpacking of this variable means what? This connect handler always take the input as IP is equal to this, username is equal to this, password is equal to this, like this. But we are not sending like this. What we are sending like a dictionary. For those, for converting this particular type into this, we are using the star star. It's known as unpacking of the dictionaries, right? You can say that it's quarks. So in the Python term, the technical term known as quarks, that we're gonna learn in the keyword argument part basically, right? So until this part, I hope that you are clear. We are just unpacking those dictionary. Now, let's say I'm again creating one variable name as output because I want output now. So for connecting output, right? For sending the commands and getting that output. Now our whole and soul. So let's go step by step. First, what we did here, we have our connection. Here we have our Cisco device. Means this part is like I'm doing this SSH. SSH, let's say I'm not using Linux. Let's say in Windows, I'm writing SSH minus S, whatever is the username, Dheeraj, and password is whatever the IP address, right? Whatever the password is, that is also been taken care of this single command, guys. See, whatever, then it will gonna prompt for password, right? Whatever the password that I have entered, I have given password already over here, Cisco. Then I'm at this location, SW1, right? So I'm at this location. Let's move ahead now from here. Let's have a look of line number 13. Now, in line number 13, as we are already on enable mode, I hope you all knows modes, right? There are 3 modes, enable and all. So that will user mode, enable mode, privilege mode, right? And global configuration mode that we're gonna see. Now we are at enable mode. Now let's hit the command over here, right? Now for hitting command, we're gonna use this connection for now. So what I'll do is connection dot. I need to send the command. So I'll simply write send command because that's the main concern that I wanted to tell you. Like Python is very user friendly. If you want to send command, just use send command function, right? Now send command here, I'm just writing show run. I'll just write show run. That's it. Now my output will be stored into this output. And how to see that output? Simply print that output. What is printing is like it will just print whatever it is, right? This is your code. But remember, whoever or whichever connection that you are initializing, let's say if you are initializing SSH connection to any of the device, you need to close that connection. So for closing, simply you can just call connection.disconnect. That's it, right? Now, this particular code will gonna give you a show running configuration. If you want it to run, let's run it. See, now issue is what? We have missed the particular device type. We have written incorrect device type. So in device type here, it should be underscore. I have written hyphen, right? So in this way, guys, you can track your errors. And don't worry, if you're getting errors, it means that you are learning, right? So let's run the code. So see, I am not getting anything because I have not printed anything. What I print is like I just print output over here. So let's wait for the output that I'll gonna get into my screen. See, guys, you can expect at least 2-3 seconds delay in my code because I have developed my lab into the Google Cloud. See, guys, this is the output of our device. You can have a look, right? This is what switch number 1. that we have, right? Entire show running config is now in front of you. If you want to change the command, you simply change the command over here, you'll get output, whatever output. Let's say show show interface. My bad. I used to learn ASA now. Interface brief, right? Let's run the code. Now, if you change the command, we should get show IP interface brief output. See, this is the VLAN one that I have created in the switch. So this is too fast. It's too fast. In your live environment, it will be really fast for you. But if it is not as well, we're gonna learn multi-threading to become or to convert that code into the fastest code, right? So that's it about our first demo, or let's say normal demo. But along with that, I just want to show you one quick thing. It will just take 2-3 minutes. So I was telling to you that, okay, we can monitor it, we can send the email and all, right? So quickly, I'll just tell you, I have one lab with me, guys. So don't worry, don't hesitate that there are like hell lines of code over here. How do we write it? Like, what should I do? What should I not? Believe me, like after 2-3 sessions or 2-3 live sessions, you're gonna write this code, right? You can trust on me. So here, what this code will do is this particular code will gonna give you this result. I'll bring this particular Excel in front of you. So this particular code will gonna give you this result. Host name is this, device IP is this, version is this, your running configuration is this, today's date is this, your status is active or failed, that is this, and what is the type of that device is, right? Now, what I will do is let me delete this Excel, as well as the add-on part of it is it will automatically send this particular Excel on email. Let me delete this particular Excel now for a moment, and I'll also show you my email. Don't worry. So let's see, this is my email, guys, right? I don't have any email that it is received from my automation script. What I'll do is simply run this code. But for running this code, I need to give device IPs, right? Here, being a developer, one major point I wanted to discuss with you: do not ever share your original code with anyone. What you can do is always share the text files with users. So text files like this. Say, I'm telling user, just enter the IP address over here, right? Only IP address, and the requirement is he just need to use this particular IP address in new lines, right? Even though he or she can copy paste the IP address, that's fine. Now, whatever the email ID, that email will gonna send that email, right? That email will gonna send it to this particular email address, right? siapython2022@gmail.com. This is the recipient email address, and I have already given my original email address like this. Don't worry about password, because nowadays Gmail has been too secured, and they used to create their own temporary password for each and every Gmails. So these are extra stuff that we're gonna learn into our classes. Just like I told, we are not course content perspective. We are thinking abroad, and we have to open for all the ideas, right? Let's run this code now. See, it's saying, hang on, I'm working on 221 now. Working on 221 now. Meanwhile, you can have a look. Where is my email? Okay, that's in full screen mode. See, I have not received any emails. Okay, this is not the email that I wanted to receive. Let's go to Google. Is this the email? No, I guess it's here. See, okay, let me delete this. It's still running. I have just deleted that email, guys. See, my bad. Closing connections. I have not received any email until now. Let's wait for our email. Let me refresh. I'm inside switch 3 now. So you can see I should get an email, right? See, Excel has been open in front of me in the another tab. The Excel has been open. Let's quickly check. Are we getting, have you received an email? See, we have received this email saying that, dear user, please find the attach which includes your reports of devices. Right, SIA team. This message you can also interpret or you can also change. That's like I told you, do not ever share the code with anyone. What you can do is simply just create a text file, email message. This is the message, right? And this particular message or this particular email, guys, also includes your attachment, right? If you have a look, see, this is your attachment. See, this is what your show running configuration. Everything has been already taken care of, right? You need to like expand the Excel columns, need to give color. You can give any color to it, right? That we're gonna learn. We have a module, right? Excel configurations. There we're gonna learn this type of things, right? And here you can get this particular email. See, very quick thing. Rather than going to the devices, copy pasting, uptime, version, everything, and then like copy paste into the Excel, write a email, send the email to the client. It's a tricky things, right? In this way, we can automate the stuff. That's it from my end. For today's, we're gonna cover a lot of things. We have a lot of things to cover into my live class, but I guess let's take your questions because you should have a lot of questions to ask. So I guess SI team, you guys can take care of from there.
Sure. Thank you, Dheeraj sir, for your demo. Let me